I've hit SSL more times than I can count. I've been at the top of Rocket League for 5 years. I've coached players at every single rank for the last 3. And if there's one thing I've learned from grinding the ranked ladder and helping thousands of others do the same, it's that 90% of advice out there is completely useless. It's generic, it's recycled, and it's not what actually makes you rank up. This video is different. I'm gonna give you the real advice, the stuff that actually gets players to SSL, the mindset shift, the playstyle changes, and the strategy fixes that I've personally used and coached others through to hit Grand Champ, SSL, and beyond. No fluff, no motivational garbage, just exactly what you need to hear if you're tired of being stuck. And if you've ever felt like you're trying hard and still not getting anywhere, this is going to be the most valuable Rocket League video you've ever watched. Let's be honest, ranking up isn't about having better mechanics than everyone else. It's about having better control of your decision making, your positioning, and your ability to adapt. SSLs don't win because they're faster or more mechanical 100% of the time. They win because they make fewer mistakes and they capitalize on your mistakes. That's the first mindset shift. Your goal isn't to play the flashiest, it's to play the smartest. If you're sitting in Champ or GC thinking, I just need better mechanics, you're already losing. Mechanics help, sure, but if your game sense sucks, all the mechanics in the world won't carry you. SSLs are predictable, but in a good way. Their teammates can trust where they'll be, and their opponents are constantly under pressure because they're never out of position. So the first actionable shift, start tracking your own mistakes instead of your teammates. Every time you concede, ask what was the last thing you could have done differently to prevent it. 9 times out of 10, there's a decision you made, whether it was pushing when you should have rotated, using boosts unnecessarily, or committing to a low percentage play that started the chain reaction. Another really common trap players fall into is being too reactive. Most players wait for the play to come to them. SSLs predict the play before it happens. They read body language, momentum, and spacing to make decisions early. That's what makes them look fast, not just raw speed, but smart anticipation. So instead of focusing on playing faster, focus on reacting less. Know what's going to happen and move before it happens. Real quick, my team of SSL level coaches is looking for 30 dedicated Rocket League players to rank up in the next 30 days. And the best part is, you don't have to grind for hours with no direction. And my team will give you a proven system to improve efficiently. And if you don't see real progress in your mechanics or your rank, we'll do 2 things. 1, we will give you all of your money back, no questions asked. And 2, we'll keep working with you until you reach these goals. And we do this because I want every player I work with to have an amazing experience and because we're confident that we can deliver on our results. If that sounds fair, DM me on Discord with the word coach to get started today. Let's get back to the video. This ties directly into rotation, not the rotate back post tip you've heard a million times. I'm talking about real fluid positioning that adapts to the play. Rotation isn't a rule book, it's a flow. SSLs understand where the pressure point is and position themselves to support it. Sometimes that means slowing down and letting a teammate make the first move. Other times, it means recognizing hesitation and taking initiative. If you treat rotation like a fixed pattern, you'll always feel one step behind everyone else. So how do you fix this? Start by recording your games and watching them back at 50% speed. Every time you make a decision, pause and ask yourself, what was the best possible option here? Did I take it? You'll quickly realize how often you tunnel vision on the ball or autopilot into bad habits. And this isn't about blaming yourself, it's about learning to recognize patterns. The next thing to do is start building habits that prevent those mistakes in real time. One of the most effective is deliberate positioning. Before you go for the ball, ask, if I lose this challenge, am I recoverable? If not, you're overcommitting. SSLs are always recoverable. That's why they can play aggressively, not because they never lose 50s, but because they're always in a position to recover when they do. Also, start seeing every rotation as an opportunity to reset. Don't just rotate out because it's what you're supposed to do, rotate out with purpose. Pick up boost pads, recheck your spacing, plan your next move based on where your teammate and opponents are, not just where the ball is. This kind of rotational discipline is what separates top tier players from everyone else. Another critical concept here is intentionality with mechanics. Don't just free play aimlessly, work on specific mechanics that solve specific problems in your ranked games. If you always lose 50s in the corner, stop practicing flip resets and start practicing challenges with proper car angles. SSLs don't grind mechanics for the sake of it, they refine the tools that you actually use every single game. And finally, remove emotion from your decisions. When you get demoted or miss a shot, you need to treat the next 10 seconds like nothing happened. Emotional players tilt, and tilted players play out of rhythm. SSLs have composure, even in high pressure OT situations, they play the same way they would in minute 1. That's what keeps them consistent, and that's what keeps them winning. Let's talk about how most players shoot themselves in the foot every time they queue up. Champ and low GC players often think they're playing smart, but they don't realize how predictable and linear their playstyle is. You might be doing everything by the book, but that's not what SSLs do. SSLs aren't just playing safe, they're playing adaptable. If your default playstyle is always playing last man, always waiting back, always hitting the ball on the first touch, that's not smart, that's passive, and passive players lose. But on the flip side, if you're always diving in, trying to win every challenge, going for solo plays in bad situations, that's not aggressive, that's selfish, and selfish players lose too. The reality is, good decision making lives in the middle. SSLs don't commit unless they know it's a really good play or they've already calculated their recovery. They're always thinking, if this goes wrong, am I fine? They make one decision with control in mind. The players who rank up are the ones who adjust their style depending on the situation. Fast when the opportunity's open, slow when it's risky. Supportive when needed, disruptive when it's smart. You can't force one playstyle into every single game. So let's get specific. If you're always booming the ball away on defense, you're probably handing the ball straight back to your opponents. If you're always dribbling 1v2 situations without support, you're just wasting time. If you're always rotating wide and slow after a challenge, you're removing yourself from the play. SSLs punish players like this because they recognize patterns. They know when someone's panicking, hesitating, or making desperate touches. That's why they feel in control of the game, and you feel like you're constantly reacting. Fixing this means cutting two habits. 1, autopiloting, and 2, basic touches. Autopiloting is when you're following rotation rules without reading the actual play. You see the ball, go to the corner, and just assume you're supposed to rotate back post, even though your teammate is double committed and you're actually the closest one to recover. This is how chances get wasted. Panic touches happen when you hit the ball just to get it out. No purpose, no control, no follow-up. You do it because you're afraid of getting challenged, but what you're really doing is giving the ball away for free. And SSLs are super patient and fast. They'll wait for you to panic, then punish your bad touch with a strong counter. If you're going to hit the ball, do it with intent. Even on defense, don't just launch it, control it, pop it, flick it, bait a challenge, anything that keeps you in control of possession is better than just hitting it away. Another core shift, play for pressure, not possession. You don't have to score every time you attack, but you do need to keep the opponent uncomfortable. That means forcing awkward clears, grabbing their boost, stealing pads, rotating back in with speed, applying pressure even when you're not on the ball. Possession without pressure is useless. Pressure without possession still creates mistakes, and SSLs know how to turn small pressure wins into big momentum wins. They make you awkward enough that you whiff, your teammate panics, and suddenly they've got a 2v1. This is why being out of position once can ruin an entire play. If your rotation is too slow, or you're recovering in the wrong lane, or you grab the wrong pad and take a bad path, you give the opponent a free window. In SSL, a free window usually means a goal. You need to start respecting recovery speed as a major skill. If you lose a 50, get demoed, or get bumped, your next 5 seconds determine the whole play. Do you rotate wide and slow to grab full boost, or do you take a tighter path, grab small pads, and get back in the play? SSLs live on small pad routes. They're constantly calculating the most efficient way to get back into rotation. That's why they always seem to appear at the perfect time. Not because they're lucky, but because they've mastered their recoveries. If you want to rank up, you need to treat every second like it matters, because it does. Every extra second you take back into rotation is a second your teammates are in a 2v3. Let's get something straight real quick. Mechanics and game sense will take you very far, but mentality is what actually gets you to the highest level of SSL. This is one area that almost every champ player ignores. They think their mechanics are off, their rotation is bad, their teammates garbage, but they never think, is my mindset holding me back? Because it probably is. Mentality is about how you respond to pressure, failure, setbacks, randomness, and in Rocket League, a game of constant chaos, your ability to stay calm and think clearly is your biggest competitive edge. SSL players don't win because they never make mistakes, they win because they handle mistakes better than anyone else does. Let's talk about tilt. You miss an open net, your teammate whiffs, someone doesn't rotate, now you're frustrated, you speed up your play, you overcommit, you chase the ball harder, all because your brain's screaming, fix this. But that panic mindset, all it does is make everything worse. SSLs miss open nets just like you do. They get scored on by lucky flicks, but they don't spiral. They reset mentally within seconds because they know one tilted game can ruin 10 solid hours of grinding ranked, and you need to start seeing bad games as data, not defeat. Every mistake is a lesson. If you double committed, why did that happen? If you missed a save, what was your positioning like? If you lost a challenge, did you overcommit, or was it just a better read? Don't waste your games blaming others. That mindset guarantees you'll never improve. Instead, finish every match by asking yourself, what did I control and what can I do better this time? If you do that, even your losses will turn into wins. Now let's talk about confidence, because lack of it ruins more plays than bad mechanics ever will. So many players hesitate, they wait too long to challenge, they drive past the ball they could have hit, not because they're bad, but because they second guess themselves. SSLs commit with confidence. Even if they miss it, their decision is decisive. That forces opponents to respect it. But if you're hesitating, faking unintentionally, flopping around trying to make something work, no one's scared of you. You'll never play well while doubting every move. Confidence comes from clarity. Clarity comes from understanding your role in the play. That's why everything we talked about, playstyle, pressure, recovery, it all builds towards confidence. If you know why you're doing something, you stop hesitating. And don't forget, no one plays their best game every game. SSLs have bad games, pros have bad games. Sometimes your shots are off, your reads suck, your rotations feel weird. It happens. The difference is that they know how to play simple when they're off. They don't try to force things, they default to safe touches, they rotate clean, they support their team. Champ level players, when they feel off, they do the opposite. They try to force clips, they ball chase to feel useful, and they get desperate and then they lose. So when you're playing badly, simplify your game. Focus on spacing, focus on recoveries, support your teammates. These are the foundations of SSL gameplay, and you don't need to be popping off mechanically to do them well. One final piece of mentality: consistency will always beat intensity. Most players grind when they're hyped. They go hard for a week, then burn out. But the players who actually improve are the ones who stay consistent. Even if it's just a few ranked games a day, you can't cram improvement. You have to layer it slowly, one win at a time. You hit SSL by stacking days of smart play, by reviewing your replays, by identifying your patterns, by staying calm in tough matches, and by not letting one loss define your progress. SSL isn't just about playing better, it's about thinking better. If you apply everything we talked about in this video, fixing your playstyle, controlling your recovery, staying calm under pressure, building confidence, you'll be miles ahead of players who are just grinding free play aimlessly, and this is what makes the difference between champ and SSL. You can get there, and this is the real roadmap.